The champagne bubbled mockingly in my glass as I watched Marcus work the room at Dad's 65th birthday party. My younger brother had always been the golden child, but tonight felt different. Tonight, I finally understood why. Sarah, you look stunning as always, Aunt Helen gushed, pulling me into her lavender-scented embrace. Though you seem a bit distracted, dear. I forced a smile, my eyes tracking Marcus as he charmed our cousins near the chocolate fountain. According to YouTube analytics, 99.3% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Just tired from all the planning, Aunt Helen. You know how these family gatherings are. But tired wasn't the word. Devastated was closer to the truth. 3 days ago, I'd discovered the email thread that changed everything. Marcus had been secretly corresponding with the partners at Whitmore and Associates for months, systematically undermining my candidacy for the senior architect position I'd spent 2 years pursuing. The promotion that would finally prove to our family that I was more than just the responsible older sister who organized birthday parties and remembered anniversaries. Sarah lacks the innovative vision necessary for our expanding clientele, one email had read. Marcus, however, demonstrates the kind of forward-thinking approach we need. The betrayal cut deeper because I'd been the one to recommend Marcus for his junior position at the firm in the first place. I'd mentored him through his first major project, covered for his mistakes, and celebrated his successes as if they were my own. And he'd repaid that loyalty by sabotaging the one opportunity that mattered most to me. Sarah, sweetheart, Mom's voice carried across the backyard. Come help me with the cake. It's time for your father's big moment. I set down my untouched champagne and made my way through the crowd of relatives and family friends. The garden looked perfect, fairy lights twinkling overhead, tables arranged just so, flowers from Mom's prized rose bushes adorning every surface. I'd spent weeks coordinating this celebration, wanting everything to be flawless for Dad's milestone birthday. As I approached the dessert table, I caught sight of the towering 3-layer cake I'd ordered from Dad's favorite bakery. Chocolate ganache with gold accents, just like the one from his 40th birthday that he still talked about. Next to it sat a bottle of 1987 Dom Perignon, the vintage from the year Dad started his construction company. There's my party planner extraordinaire, Dad beamed, wrapping his arm around my shoulders. At 65, he still had the build of the construction worker he'd once been, though silver now threaded through his dark hair. This is incredible, honey. You've outdone yourself. Anything for you, Dad, I said, meaning it. My father had worked 18-hour days to build his company from nothing, sacrificing countless family dinners and weekend trips to provide for us. If anyone deserved a perfect celebration, it was him. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus's voice suddenly boomed across the yard. He'd climbed onto one of the garden benches, champagne flute raised high. If I could have everyone's attention. The conversations died down as our relatives turned toward my brother. Even in the soft evening light, Marcus commanded attention, tall like Dad, with Mom's artistic features and an easy smile that had been getting him out of trouble since childhood. I want to thank my amazing sister Sarah for putting together this beautiful celebration, Marcus began, gesturing in my direction. The crowd erupted in appreciative applause, and I felt heat rise in my cheeks. But I also have some incredible news to share on this special night. My stomach lurched. Number. He wouldn't. Earlier this week, I received the call I've been hoping for. Whitmore and Associates has offered me the position of senior architect, their youngest in company history. The yard exploded in cheers and congratulations. I watched in surreal horror as family members rushed toward Marcus, embracing him, patting his back, shouting their excitement. Through the crowd, I caught sight of his triumphant grin, and for just a moment, his eyes met mine. There was no guilt there, no acknowledgement of what he'd stolen from me. Only pure, unbridled satisfaction. Speech, speech, someone called out. and soon the entire party was chanting the word. Well, Marcus laughed, raising his hands for silence. Since you insist, this promotion represents everything I've worked toward. Architecture has always been my passion, my calling, and now I get to design the buildings that will shape our city's future. Your calling? I thought bitterly. When you were 12, you wanted to be a professional skateboarder. But most importantly, Marcus continued, this position will allow me to start the family I've always dreamed of. Emma and I have been talking about taking the next step, and with this financial security. He pulled his girlfriend Emma up beside him on the bench. She was radiant in her sundress, clearly overwhelmed by the attention but glowing with happiness. I'd always liked Emma. She was kind, genuine, everything Marcus didn't deserve. Marcus said, dropping to one knee right there on the garden bench. Will you marry me? The proposal happened in slow motion. Marcus producing a ring box that must have cost more than my monthly salary. Emma's hands flying to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Her breathless yes that sent the crowd into absolute hysteria. My mother sobbing with joy. My father recording everything on his phone with shaking hands. And through it all, I stood frozen by the dessert table, watching my brother's stolen promotion pay for his perfect proposal at my father's birthday party. The next few minutes blurred together. More champagne appeared. Someone started playing music from a Bluetooth speaker. The celebration shifted into an impromptu engagement party, with Dad's birthday becoming secondary to the exciting development. I found myself mechanically accepting congratulations from relatives who assumed I must be thrilled for my little brother. My cheeks ached from forcing smiles while comments like, "You must be so proud" and "What an architect he'll make" echoed in my ears. "Sarah, honey, are you all right?" Mom appeared at my elbow, her face flushed with excitement. "You look a bit pale." "I'm fine, Mom, just taking it all in." She squeezed my hand. I know it's a lot of excitement for one evening, but isn't it wonderful? My baby is getting married and starting his career. Everything's falling into place for him. Everything's falling into place. The words hit me like a physical blow. Because that's exactly what this was. Everything falling into place for Marcus while my carefully laid plans crumbled around me. I excused myself and walked toward the house, needing a moment to process what had just happened. In the span of 10 minutes, Marcus had announced his promotion to my dream job and gotten engaged, hijacking Dad's special night and twisting the knife deeper into my already bleeding wounds. But as I passed the dessert table again, something inside me snapped. All my life, I'd been the responsible one, the planner, the one who cleaned up messes and smoothed over problems. I'd spent weeks organizing this perfect celebration, only to watch it become a monument to my brother's betrayal. And now everyone was so caught up in his big news that Dad's milestone birthday had been completely overshadowed. I thought about the emails, about the systematic way Marcus had poisoned my reputation while letting me believe we were on the same team. I thought about his smug expression when he'd caught my eye during his announcement. I thought about Emma's joy, built on a foundation of lies and theft. And I thought about Dad, standing off to the side, while his own birthday party celebrated someone else's achievements. Not tonight. I walked over to where Marcus stood, surrounded by well-wishers, Emma still glowing beside him. My brother was in his element, basking in the admiration and excitement of our extended family. This was his moment of triumph, the pinnacle of his carefully orchestrated deception. I called out, my voice carrying clearly across the group. "Could I have a word with you? Privately?" "Actually, sis, I'm kind of in the middle of now." Something in my tone made the conversations around us falter. Marcus frowned but followed me a few steps away from the crowd. "What's wrong with you? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I know what you did." The color drained from his face. "Sarah, what are you talking about?" "Whitmore and Associates, the emails, all of it." For a moment, he looked genuinely panicked. Then his expression hardened into something I'd never seen before. Cold, calculating, utterly without remorse. "Prove it," he said quietly. "I don't need to prove it to them." I gestured toward our family. "I just need to prove it to me. And I already have." Marcus glanced around nervously, clearly worried about being overheard. "Look, Sarah, business is business. You've had your chance to shine, and now it's my turn. Don't be bitter just because." Bitter. The word came out louder than I'd intended, causing several relatives to look our way. "You sabotaged me, Marcus, for months. While I was helping you, covering for you, believing in you." "Keep your voice down," he hissed. "You're making a scene." "I'm making a scene?" I felt something wild and reckless uncurling in my chest. "Sarah." His voice carried a warning now. "Drop this. You're embarrassing yourself." But I was past the point of caring about embarrassment. I was past the point of caring about keeping the peace or being the responsible older sister. 2 years of work, 2 years of dreams, 2 years of believing in fairness and merit, all destroyed by the person I'd trusted most. "You want to see a scene, Marcus?" My voice was rising now, drawing attention from across the yard. "I'll show you a scene." I turned and walked back toward the dessert table, Marcus following behind me, calling my name in increasingly urgent tones. Our relatives were starting to notice the commotion, conversations dying down as they sensed something was wrong. "Sarah? What's happening?" Dad appeared beside me, concern creasing his features. "Ask your son," I said, grabbing the bottle of Dom Perignon from the table. "Ask him how he really got that promotion." "Sarah, don't." Marcus reached for the bottle, but I was already uncorking it. The champagne erupted in a fountain of golden bubbles, and instead of trying to contain it, I aimed it directly at Marcus. The expensive vintage cascaded over his button-down shirt and dress pants, soaking him from head to toe. The yard went dead silent. "Sarah." Mom's horrified voice cut through the quiet. "What on earth? 2 years?" I shouted, still holding the dripping bottle. 2 years I worked for that promotion. 2 years I helped you, covered for you, believed in you, and you repaid me by stabbing me in the back." Marcus stood there dripping champagne, his face a mask of rage and humiliation. "You're insane. You're actually insane." "Am I?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Or, am I just finally tired of watching you take credit for everything while I clean up your messes?" I turned to face our family, all of whom were staring at us in shock. Emma looked like she might be sick. Dad appeared completely bewildered. Mom was clutching Aunt Helen's arm as if she might faint. "You want to know how Marcus really got that senior architect position?" I called out to the crowd. "He spent months sending emails to the partners, systematically undermining my candidacy, telling them I lacked vision, that I wasn't innovative enough. All while I was mentoring him, helping him with his projects, thinking we were a team." "That's not." Marcus started to speak, but I cut him off. "And the timing of this announcement? The proposal? You couldn't let Dad have one night that was just about him and his accomplishments. You had to make it about you." I was moving toward the cake now, that beautiful 3-layer masterpiece that had taken the bakery team 4 hours to create. Marcus was following me, his expensive loafers squelching with each step. "Sarah, step away from the cake," he said, like he was talking to a dangerous animal. "Or what? You'll sabotage my relationship with our family too?" "I never sabotaged anything. I worked for that promotion." "You stole it." The words ripped from my throat with years of suppressed frustration. "Just like you stole the credit for the Morrison project when we were in college. Just like you stole Mom's attention every time I tried to share good news. Just like you're stealing Dad's birthday right now." And with that, I grabbed the beautiful cake with both hands and hurled it to the ground. The chocolate ganache and delicate layers exploded across the patio in a spectacular mess of frosting and gold accents. Someone screamed. I think it might have been Aunt Helen. "Years of lies. I shouted over the chaos, champagne still dripping from my hair where Marcus had tried to grab the bottle from me. Years of taking credit for my work, my ideas, my connections, and this is how you celebrate it? By ruining Dad's night and proposing with money you earned by betraying me? Marcus's composure finally cracked completely. You know what your problem is, Sarah? You're a bitter, jealous failure who can't stand that I'm better at this than you are. I didn't steal anything. I earned it. Earned it? I was beyond reason now, beyond caring about the horrified faces surrounding us. You earned it by lying, by sabotage, by being a manipulative, backstabbing, enough. Dad's voice boomed across the yard with a force that made everyone jump. Both of you, enough. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the music had stopped playing. Dad stood between Marcus and me, his face red with anger and disappointment. I don't know what's happened between you two, he said, his voice deadly quiet now. But this ends right here, right now. This is supposed to be a celebration, not this. He gestured helplessly at the champagne-soaked patio and the ruins of his birthday cake. Dad, let me explain, Marcus began. Dad held up a hand. Both of you need to cool off before anyone says something they can't take back. But I was already past that point. The damage was done, the words were out, and the terrible satisfaction of watching Marcus's perfect moment crumble was worth whatever consequences would follow. I said, my voice steady now despite my racing heart. Your golden boy got his dream job by systematically destroying his sister's career. And he chose your birthday party to celebrate it, because he knew I wouldn't make a scene in front of the family. I looked around at the sea of shocked faces. Relatives who'd watched me grow up, who'd seen me graduate summa cum laude, who'd celebrated my small victories over the years. Now they were seeing me at my absolute worst, covered in champagne and cake frosting, having destroyed what should have been a beautiful family celebration. Well, Marcus, I said, turning back to my brother. I guess you were wrong about that. With that, I dropped the empty champagne bottle on the patio, where it shattered into glittering pieces, and walked through the stunned crowd toward the gate. Behind me, I heard Emma burst into tears. I heard Mom calling my name. I heard Dad trying to calm everyone down, while Aunt Helen demanded to know what had just happened. But I kept walking, because for the first time in years, I'd stopped cleaning up someone else's mess. The next morning, I woke up on my couch still wearing my party dress, now stained with champagne and chocolate. My phone showed 17 missed calls from various family members and a string of increasingly frantic text messages. The first one, from Mom at 11:47 p.m. Sarah, please come home. We need to talk about this. The last one, from Dad at 6:23 a.m. Whatever happened between you and Marcus, we'll figure it out. But you're my daughter. And I love you. Call me. I sat up slowly, my head pounding from the emotional hangover of the night before. In the harsh light of morning, the magnitude of what I'd done was starting to sink in. I'd destroyed Dad's birthday party, humiliated Marcus in front of our entire extended family, and probably traumatized poor Emma in the process. But I couldn't bring myself to regret it. My laptop was still open on the coffee table. The email thread that had started this whole mess still displayed on the screen. I reread Marcus's messages to the Whitmore partners, feeling the betrayal fresh and sharp all over again. Sarah has reached her ceiling at this company. She lacks the innovative thinking necessary for senior-level projects. I've observed significant gaps in her technical knowledge that she compensates for with excessive preparation and micromanagement. While Sarah is certainly competent, she doesn't possess the natural leadership qualities you're looking for in this position. Each line was a carefully crafted lie designed to make me look incompetent and stagnant. The worst part was how plausible it all sounded. Subtle character assassinations mixed with enough truth to be believable. My phone rang, interrupting my bitter reading session. Dad's name appeared on the screen. Hi, Dad. I answered, my voice hoarse from all the shouting the night before. Sarah. He sounded tired. Are you all right? I'm fine. How? How is everyone? Well, your mother spent most of the night crying. Marcus and Emma left around midnight, and I spent the morning cleaning champagne and cake off the patio. Guilt twisted in my stomach. Dad, I'm so sorry about your party. You deserved better than… Honey, stop. His voice was gentle but firm. I need you to tell me what really happened. Not the screaming match version, the truth. So, I told him. Everything. The emails, the systematic sabotage, the months of Marcus undermining me while I helped advance his career. I read him some of the worst messages verbatim, my voice shaking with renewed anger. When I finished, the silence stretched for so long I thought the call had dropped. Dad, are you there? I'm here. He sounded older somehow. Sarah, if what you're telling me is true, it is true. I can forward you the emails. Another long pause. Do that. Send them to me right now. While Dad reviewed the evidence, I took a shower and tried to make myself presentable for whatever conversations lay ahead. By the time I was dressed, my phone was ringing again. Jesus Christ, Sarah. Dad's voice was tight with anger. How long has this been going on? The emails go back about 8 months. But honestly, I think Marcus has been taking credit for my work since college. And you never said anything? What was I supposed to say? That my little brother was stealing my ideas? It always seemed petty, and he's so good at making me look paranoid when I try to confront him about it. Dad was quiet for a moment. I always wondered how Marcus advanced so quickly at the firm. Don't get me wrong, he's talented, but so are you. And you've been there longer. Dad, I need you to know. I'm not proud of how I handled things last night. I shouldn't have ruined your party, and I definitely shouldn't have involved Emma in this mess. But I couldn't stand there and watch him steal my dream and then celebrate it like he'd earned it. Honey, I'm not calling to scold you about your behavior last night. I mean, yes, it was spectacular in the worst possible way, and your mother is having fits about what the pert relatives must think. But Marcus. He trailed off, and I could hear the disappointment in his voice. I raised him better than this. That afternoon, I received a text from Marcus. We need to talk. Coffee shop on 5th Street, 1 hour. I almost didn't go. The smart thing would have been to let lawyers handle it from here, to document everything and file formal complaints with the architectural board. But some masochistic part of me needed to hear what he had to say for himself. Marcus was already waiting when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth with dark circles under his eyes. He looked like he'd slept about as well as I had. You look terrible, I said, sliding into the seat across from him. Yeah, well, having your career potentially destroyed will do that to you.